Williams. Veers left. Pulls up, looking for the lead, and got it. Jaylen Williams, 2 seconds, 1:11:109. Now SGA, probing, piercing, spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down. The Thunder finally get the defensive stop, and SGA puts them in front.
I'm Kenrich Williams. You're listening to Topic Thunder.
And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Top of Thunder podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Hunsinger at Thunder Chats. We're part of the Believe Network. And, hey, vibes are high. The Thunder played game 1 of the West Conference Finals today for the first time since 2016. And unlike the last time we saw the Thunder in the conference finals, we emerged victorious in this game. Vibes are high. We got people in the chat here. We got Topher saying Thunder up. We got Josh Hughes saying woo. We got El Reggio saying Kenny having his J. Will Light performance was a difference maker. Absolutely. We're going to talk about that. And Anthony saying let's go Thunder. And as I said, Thunder Chat's here. I'm hosting, but I'm joined by the return of the Matts once again. We got Matt Tierney, Matty Moles jumping on the pod as we're doing the intro. Moles, how the heck are you doing, sir?
I have no complaints at all. Not even the time at which our night game ended in the playoffs. It's so great to start at 7:30 Central Time. My vibes are super immaculate.
They do be immaculate.
Yep. No, absolutely. Yeah, as Alex Bojack says, the vibes do be immaculate. Nathaniel Brown saying Thunder to F up and Gark Balls. Yep.
Gark Balls.
Boys. So, yeah, fellas, I mean, this was a basketball game. You know, early on in the game, first half, things weren't going great. I think we were down 4 going into halftime.
Down 4 at half.
Luckily.
By the grace of God.
Yeah, honestly.
That was a win for us, to be honest.
The offense just was not there early in the game, but we was able to finally turn it on, string together a couple of runs, lock in defensively, and got some rhythm on offense, and extended this lead to win by 26 points. And I just got to say, you know, hand up. This is my fault, as you guys know. You know, been in the hospital, started a new job. Last night stayed the night in the hospital, so I didn't have a chance to pick my clothes. Like I just had to basically wear what I had in my car. So I didn't have my Thunder gear on whenever the game started. Got home, put on my lucky go home sweatshirt. I think we're undefeated in the playoffs when I'm wearing this. It was 60-60 when I put this on. I think you guys know what happened after that. So
you need to wear that shirt every second of the rest of the playoffs, my brother.
I have to wear that shirt, and Cone has to be at every Thunder game. I mean, it just has to happen.
That's the rules.
I mean, are you real fans? If not,
yeah.
At this point, it is decided. It is written. I mean, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. So we started going on that run, and I was standing, and I felt like I was standing for an eternity, but it was a good eternity. Because I didn't want to jinx it, and it worked out.
Yep. No, I absolutely feel that. Moles, I don't know if your mic is picking up correctly.
Yeah, I was just texting you in the private chat. I think your mic is giving some static or something.
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's fine. We can power through.
It might be from your phone.
I was about to say.
Your mic
or your headphones.
You're covering the mic if it's on your phone. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Either way, we'll power through.
Does it sound better? Does it sound better? A little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see you in a minute. Bye-bye.
Just get real close to the camera.
We're in Mole's face. Yeah, I mean, Tierney, you know how we do it, man. Like, whenever we talk about one of these games, we got to talk single large item. And I think there's as there usually is, you know, with a team like this, with a team that has as much depth as the Oklahoma City Thunder, there's always a lot of different items to cover. So, single large item, man. I mean, let's get it started. I mean, there's no other place to start. Like, you know, there's a lot of guys that pitched in, a lot of guys made their presence known, but the place that I'm starting is the MVP. If you're asking anybody who the MVP is, just ask Mike Malone.
Mike Malone said it
former
himself.
Denver Nuggets coach,
Said
it
himself
after the game. Said that is why Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the MVP.
Bro must really hate the Nuggets if he's doing that type of messaging.
He probably does. He's pretty bitter about it, I'd say. But he had sorry, I'm trying to fix my camera. He had 31 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals. Started off
Bad.
just very off in terms of like his shooting, and he even acknowledged it. Post game, this is like, how do you feel after winning? The game? He's like, I felt a little rusty. I missed some layups, missed some free throws, and it wasn't just him. Dub missed some layups and some free throws. Chet missed some free throws. Like we were missing a lot of easy points early in the first half, and Shai was not free of that. He was 2 of 13, and just looked at it going into the half. So that means he finished the game 8 of 14. So much more efficient down the stretch. Third quarter, he actually had 12 points and 8 points in the fourth quarter, and just getting some timely buckets, man. Like, getting to the free throw line early and often to start the game really had, the Timberwolves fans like pissed off, calling him the free throw merchant and everything. But
that's fine.
Again, like his first bucket was a spinning layup, like spinning double clutch layup. Probably could have been called for a foul. Wasn't called for.
There's a lot that didn't get called.
He hit a slew of step back mid-range jumpers, pull up mid-range jumpers. Like, he really had the midi falling tonight. Blew by Jay McDaniels a few times. Like, yeah, he was just on an absolute tear, and his playmaking, man, just continues to be such a weapon. Had 9 assists tonight to only 2 turnovers, and a few of those were like plays that really got guys going. Like, there was a couple of passes early on. Like, the Timberwolves started off this game 8-0. I'm pretty sure they hit their first 3 shots and we couldn't buy a bucket.
Yeah,
but the first bucket for OKC, Shai hit free throws to kind of start the game, but the first bucket was Shai driving the lane, and instead of doing a wraparound of just like normal around the guy right next to you, he went the opposite way, did a reverse wraparound to Isaiah Hartenstein for the dunk. And yeah, at that point, that was just the beginning of just a masterpiece of playmaking.
I think you muted yourself, Dylan. I think I can unmute you, actually. I don't know why. There we go. I think your audio cut out, Dylan. So while you're getting that figured out, I will pivot and also talk what I was going to say about Shai, because like Dylan said, he was 2 of 13. He did get a lot of free throws in the first half. They were all warranted. Again, free throw merchant's going to be the thing. Doris Burke, by the way, not sure what her agenda was. Not sure what the Thunder did to her. But
can you hear me now?
You can hear me. I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I think
sorry.
you might have unplugged.
I did. And
but yeah, I was just saying the first half Shai was sustained by the fact that he was getting the Wolves were fouling him all the time in the first quarter. They kind of stopped in the second. And shout out to I almost said Alexander Walker, Jaden McDaniels. He had some great defense on him as well. I think that was the best defense he has seen this playoffs, and will continue to see probably for the rest of the playoffs, even if we get past the Wolves. So he had his challenges figured out. And I think the second half, part of the reason he was able to get more of his shots and get more of a rhythm was the fact that the other 2 of the big 3 started figuring it out as well. The other thing I did want to, the play of the night though, for Shai, the and one on Ant, that I think Jerry said it. Yeah. And Vikin in the chat said it as well. Unbelievable play. Felt very much like the kind of I wouldn't say it was equivalent to the Russ and one layup that we all know and love, but it had that sort of vibe to it.
Yeah.
Crowd was just
it was Russ and one coded. Like it wasn't like equivalent, but it was very much coded like that.
Yes. Very much so. Yeah.
Man.
He locked in.
Yeah, like Bojack said, scored and assisted on 20 points in the third quarter. Just absolute takeover. He quickly realized that whenever he puts his head down, goes to the rim, gets to a spot, absolutely nobody on the Wolves could guard him. And they tried. Like, Jaden McDaniels ended up fouling out of this game with 5 minutes left. Mm-hmm. He's for all intents and purposes, their best Shai defender. People might remember a couple years ago in the playing game, people had this narrative that Nickeil Alexander-Walker was Shai's kryptonite. That is no longer the case. The rumors are not true. Shai can get buckets on the best of the best whenever he wants to. And the reason that he missed those shots tonight, like early in the first half, like sure, like there was some contested shots, but Shai hits contested shots all the time. Like he's one of the best shot makers of this generation and of all time. Like I really think that, as he said, like, it was just rest. Like he missed some easy shots. He missed some easy opportunities. And I expect him as good as he was tonight, despite his efficiency, anchored by his struggles in the first half, like he could be that much better. Like he could have, he could probably, like he could legitimately average like 40 points in this series. So I'm very excited to see what Shai's got for us. And I just really appreciate whenever his shot's not falling, he's looking for the next thing that he can do to make an impact for his team.
9 assists.
Yeah, 9 assists, obviously, but crashing the glass, had 5 rebounds as well. 3 steals, getting involved on the defensive side of the ball as he does. And man, I just shout out Shai, man. He's the MVP, and I can't wait for them to finally announce it. Like, what's the whole?
They have to, because TNT has the broadcast tomorrow, so they have to do it then. That can't. I know we keep saying this. We're a broken record, but it has to be tomorrow.
It's got to be soon. It's got to be soon.
They got to do it eventually.
It's getting awkward at this point.
They got to do it eventually. Just get it over with. But yeah, great game from Shai. Good bounce back. It's the second half.
All right, Tyrion, going back to you on this one. What is your single large item for the game, my friend?
The single large item today was a guy who's felt like this was a coming out moment for him in the playoffs. It's my man Chet. My man Chet balled out. And I know people put out the stats, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks, a steal, 6 of 9 shooting, 1 of 1 from 3, but
3 assists.
3 assists. Where he really, it was all though that fourth quarter and those like 5 to 6 minutes that he played. That was he just completely took over the game. He had 9 points in those 6 minutes, 3 of those rebounds, 4 or 5. Most of his shots were there, and a lot of them were putbacks from those 3 rebounds. Like he was a menace on the glass. 2 blocks, one of which was just a ridiculous block on DiVincenzo, who tried to do a reverse layup. Incredible footwork. Just like stuff if you're a Thunder fan, has been watching all season, you know that he's going to get those. And 2 blocks and a steal, and it hit his only 3, 1 of 1, all in that fourth quarter stretch. That to me was it felt like Chet's offense has not exactly been. You haven't noticed it that much in this postseason. That to me felt like the first moment was like, oh, Chet is here. Chet has arrived. It was a big growing moment for him. And I mean, the fact that I don't remember if some of those rebounds he got was with Gobert on the floor, but I know Julius Randle was on the floor, and he's giving up a lot of size. The fact that he is still able to contest for some of these missed shots and get second chance opportunities like he did is pretty amazing. Two of those rebounds, by the way, in the fourth quarter were offensive rebounds. So that's something we did not get a lot of so far in the playoffs. So a huge moment for him as well in there. And then I think just, I think the blocks in general, I mean, he did have 2 tonight, but I think a lot of it is just because they're not even trying to go at him. They just know that you're not going to really have a lot of success with Chet at the rim. So even though his stats, like his stocks, aren't going to always be as high as they were tonight, which I think he's just going to be such an impact defensively. But the offense is what screamed out to me tonight. I think they figured something out with him, and I think it's going to keep going in game 2. So yeah, big shout out to Chet. This felt like a growing up moment, a Chet has arrived moment for him. And Moles has said this a lot, and I agree with him too. I don't want him to see dribbling as much. I think his best offense outside of dunks and putbacks is when he gets kind of like in the just outside the kind of inside the free throw line, he can just use his footwork to generate a lot of offense. But when he starts to dribble the ball, that's kind of where he got a lot of his issues. We saw a little bit of it tonight. He had one turnover where he kind of just lost it on the baseline out of bounds. But in that second half, he kind of stopped doing that. And so, just really liked what I saw at the end there from Chet. Part of that was also what exploded this lead, because to be honest, it was probably like 9 to 11 point lead for the most of the second half, and then just sort of exploded there at the end. And I think that was a big part due to Chet. So I'm confident we're going to see that again in game 2, but we'll see. But shout out Chet regardless.
I got to say, like, I agree with that about Chet. I think the biggest thing for how the flow of this game went that we might not be able to rely upon is Rudy Gobert got 2 fouls like in the first 2 minutes. And really that set them back. Who knows how much we would have been down in the first half if he wasn't in that foul trouble early and we had to play a little sloppier inside. I know that we pretty much survived at the free throw line to start the game, and then it broke open. But if we can go right at him or Randall or Naz Reid, who he didn't kill us tonight, but it's a matter of time before he has like that 6 for 8 game from 3. We have to attack those big guys and get them to play one dimensional, and then we could attack them from multiple different avenues. But Rudy Gobert only playing 21 minutes tonight. We probably won't see that again in the series unless he gets in trouble again.
I do want to pivot a little bit because we haven't mentioned any of this yet. You mentioned already the Gobert foul trouble. I do think, if you are a Wolves fan, on one side of things, you probably are looking at this game and being like, that's what we saw tonight. A lot of it's not going to happen again. You're not going to see Gobert in a lot of foul trouble. The Wolves went 15 to 51 from 3. 51 attempts from 3 is crazy. And shooting under 30% with that clip. I don't think that's going to happen again. I don't think Dante DiVincenzo is going to go 3 of 12. I don't think, Naz Reid is going to go 0 of 7. Nas is going to go 2 of 9. I don't think you're going to get that. But on the other side of things, I don't know if Anthony Edwards is okay, because I'm shocked he went 5 of 13 in 37 minutes. Like that's not that to me, especially after the ankle injury, seems like he may not be completely okay. And that's a bit worrisome if you are a Wolves fan.
I think he's fine. I mean, even after the ankle injury, he tried to dunk on Dort. I think in the second quarter.
I think it was early though. I think as the game progressed, you saw less and less of him. I think they gave him something.
I'll get to it in a second. I have a feeling who Moles is going to pick for a single large item, but I mean, there's a reason Anthony Edwards struggled in this game, and
I think whether the defense is a good testament for that too. I agree with that.
I mean, whether he was hampered by the ankle or not, there's another reason. But I mean,
I do think that's going to be a talking point though. Ant's injury.
Let him talk. I don't give a frick. But
make sure we mentioned it.
Just closing the book on Chet. I mean, just the way that he was able to get his points in the fourth quarter. I mean, he had the corner 3. He had the one where Shai drew the double and he passed it to Chet, who cut baseline, caught the ball, and then kind of did like a 180 dunk. And he loved it. Like the crowd loved it. And he started screaming like crazy. And then again, just cleaning up the glass. Talking about Rudy Gobert, he did have foul trouble early on, but he didn't play a single minute in the fourth quarter, and it was still a close game. It was 10 points, but it's not like the Timberwolves weren't trying to cut into that deficit. So I think that if the game is if they're close or they have a lead, I could see Rudy playing more, but when they're in catch-up mode, Rudy's off the floor. And I think that that's really when OKC could really extend these leads, like really balloon those leads whenever you don't got guys like Rudy Gobert out there to, kind of be a deterrent for Chet and Hartenstein. Like, I mean, I'm sure we'll mention it, but like Hartenstein was the steadying force in the first half. Like he was one of the most consistent options for offense in the first half. But now, kind of closing the book on Chet, he had 3 stocks and they were all in the fourth quarter. But that does not tell the story for how game-changing he was defensively. Like he was such a strong rim deterrent. There was many times where he had his hand on the ball and they were able to flip it out to another player, so it wasn't a block or a steal or a turnover. Just every time they would drive in, like Chet Holmgren would be right there, and it was just like they would think that they have an easy look at the basket, and then Chet just closes it up, man. He just folds them up. So hopefully he can continue to do that. It was a really welcome sign to see. He kind of had an up and down series against the Nuggets, except for rebounding. He was phenomenal against the Nuggets. Tonight he kind of took a step back, and I think that is because the Wolves are a bigger team than the Nuggets, so that is to kind of be expected. But every other aspect of the game, I was very impressed with Chet. So
shout out.
Yeah, shout out Chet Holmgren. We hope you're doing well, sir.
Shout out the boy.
Matty Moles, what is your single large item, my friend?
A guy that got a lot of grief last series. He started this series off pretty strong. Maybe not the most efficient offensive game, but he certainly impacted the game in every facet. I'm talking about J-Dub, or as ESPN calls him, J-Will.
Gosh,
they did it again.
Was killing.
Oh my God. So Jaylen Williams, number 8, like that one, the one that is supposed to be the number 2, the all-star. He showed up in a big way. 19 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. But I want to talk about his 5 steals.
I did not realize you had 5 steals.
Super 4x5, man.
Super freaking involved on that end of the floor, covering multiple positions. I saw he was on like Conley one possession. It just happened that way. And then next thing you know, he's attached to the hip for Ant. He's attached to the hip for Randall. It's like the guy was just begging for every prime matchup, and he answered the call. I don't really remember him getting cooked in this game. Julius Randle, who I once called the top 30 player in the NBA, and people disagreed with me.
He was in the first half. 5 of 6 from 3, dude. It's crazy.
He got hot, but he has 5 of 6 from 3 in the first half.
Yeah,
and he finished the game 5 of 6 from 3.
So, he didn't take another shot.
Not another one, and he played 36 minutes, which was second most on the team behind Ant. And right alongside them was the 33 minutes for J-Dub. Like if he's not bringing it offensively, which he did a little better in this game, he still scored 19 points. Only 4 of those came from the line. So no free throw merchant slander for him in this one. Because you never know what Twitter's going to cook next. But man, defensively, as we saw in the regular season, his ability to defend 1 through 5.
Yeah.
Very similar to how Draymond Green was able to defend 1 through 5 and really unlock a lot for Golden State. Dub is going to do the same for us. We just happen to have a 2 deep at every position now to help answer whatever combinations necessary. Dub is really that skeleton key that allows us to get after that. Props to him on the defensive end today and bringing the intensity.
Yeah, the offense was not there at all first half, kind of like Shai. But to what you said, the Wolves, part of the reason this was a close game, despite Shai and Dub not shooting well, or shooting well at all, was the turnovers. They had I want to say double-digit turnovers by halftime. They had 7 in the first, I know that. And a lot of that was because of J-Will. He was getting he was very handsy, a lot of poking of the ball, especially when he was on Randall. And I think that's what part of the reason they kept afloat in this game. And I was saying earlier, I did not realize he had 5 steals until we just started this recap. So like that's just, you know, them being handsy, them not allowing just free entry passes to Randall or Gobert, but mostly Randall.
Yeah, and it's not just that either, because like there was a few times, like specifically in the first half, like whenever Ant was off the floor and Julius Randle was like the source of their offense, that Randall's back would be to the basket like 20 feet away from the rim, and Dub would like anticipate that, like he'd be looking left and Dub would sneak up to his right and just grab the ball and head out the other end.
That was the end of the half play that kind of like sparked things in the second half. Was I don't know who was on Randall, but yeah, Dub just kind of wrapped around and grabbed it because he had the ball like 2 feet away from his chest for some reason.
Yeah.
And then, it just ended up being an easy 2 points.
It was not an easy 2 points. Dub missed a layup.
Oh, that's true. He missed it. Yeah, I forgot. And then Isaiah Joe had to hit the free throws. I forgot. Yeah, that's right. There's just so many transition plays. You forget them all.
Can we just make our bunnies, please?
I know, man. It's so annoying. It was so
Dub's
annoying.
had a couple of those now in the playoffs.
Hey, let me ask you this. Do you guys, just like as a sidebar, do you guys know who led the team in rebounds tonight for the Thunder?
I just looked at the stat sheet, but I didn't check that. So I'm going to...
Like, without looking, just guess.
But I was looking at it a lot. Shai had
Moles
9.
I did. I looked. I'm not going to answer.
Shai did not have 9 rebounds.
All right, assists. Never mind.
It was a tie. You've got a good chance to get it right.
Dub is one of them. He had 8.
And
tied with him.
And Lu Dort.
No. Lu Dort had 1 rebound.
Oh.
Isaiah Joe. Again, stuff in the stat sheet. 8 rebounds in 13 minutes of action.
Got 8 rebounds. Holy moly.
And one of them was the offensive rebound.
He's back. 1 of 2 from 3. Our boy's back. I was so happy to see that.
Shai said we don't win this game without Isaiah Joe and Kenrich Williams and what they were able to do in their minutes.
Bro, shout out Mark Daigneault for they had no idea how to play against that small ball lineup when Kenny was out there. I don't have the lineup plus minus stats, but it felt like of all of the lineups we threw out there, the small ball of Kenny at the 5 or like Dub at the 5 were the most impactful for this whole game. And it wasn't even when Gobert was out, because he brought it in when Gobert had foul trouble, but he played it for a lot of the second half too, like more than I expected. And the Wolves had no answer to it. They were just, it was just because they could fly around on defense. And they could just get every pass was a potential steal. Even if they didn't get a steal, every missed field goal, every bad shot was a rebound that they just immediately took down the floor and just in the blink of an eye. So I loved that small ball lineup tonight. They're feisty.
Yeah.
That's a good way to describe them.
No, absolutely. All right. So at this point, I got about 6 minutes before I got to go. So I'm going to make my final, I guess, smaller item, and I'm going to kick it to you guys to kind of end the pod. But my next item, after the big 3, and it's funny because I even made a post saying that, I know Lu Dort struggled, in the past couple of series, but like this series is made for him. Like him guarding Ant, like this is his get back series. It's like Alex Caruso, Case Wallace, like it was awesome what they were able to do the first 2 series, but like I think this is really gonna be a Dort series. I was wrong. All right, cookies and cream for life, baby. Like they wasn't wrecking the game defensively in terms of like creating turnovers and getting steals and whatnot, like they were against the Nuggets or the Grizzlies, but just what they're able to do when they're on the floor in different ways. Like Alex Caruso had 9 points. Every single one of those points were off of a 3-pointer. Casey Wallace trailed only Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 7 assists on the team, and I think that was his playoff career high. And he had, I think they said that he had 5 against the Nuggets the last game. Casey Wallace was just continuing to grow before our eyes. Like Shai said, like, Case is still young. Like, he played point guard all through high school, all through college. Like, people don't realize that. Like, he's still growing in this league. Like, he still has more that he can contribute on the ball. It's just, he's on such a stacked team that, he kind of gets marginalized a little bit and, has to be like the all defender that he is. And he played 33 minutes tonight, which is right there with Dub
That's
for
crazy.
second most on the
So
team.
happy for that.
Needed every one of them.
Deserved.
And as good as I thought Lou Dort was going to be at guarding Anthony Edwards in this series, Casey Wallace had him in prison every time he went isolation on Casey Wallace. He didn't get anywhere. Alex Caruso in the fourth quarter also got switched on to Ant a few times. Absolute prison. Who was it? Somebody mentioned in the chat. Yeah, Lou Ra mentioned in the chat. Ant was scoreless in the fourth quarter.
He just wasn't even trying to drive. Like he would just give up the ball so quickly.
Yeah, and well, there was many times he tried to do a move. He tried to, pull out the bag. He tried to pull out the M1 mixtape move, like try to get past Case and try to get past Caruso, tried to get to his 3-point shot. And it was just off or not, man. Like they completely shut that down. Tried to run Caruso through screens to get free. Caruso, like a freaking snake, just like skirting by the screen, navigating through the screen. And I just gotta say, man, like I'm very excited for the MVP announcement because I think the MVP shirt is gonna just go gangbusters. But releasing that cookies and cream shirt when we did was one of the most poignant decisions that we've made as a podcast.
Well, good timing.
Yeah. So shout out Alex Caruso, shout out Case Wallace. Cookies and cream forever, cookies and cream for life. It's been an absolute ride, and I can't wait to see them carry on through the playoffs. Because as I'm signing off, I just want to leave you guys with this anecdote to kind of carry you through the rest of the pod. After tonight's win, the Oklahoma City Thunder are 7 wins away from winning their first NBA World Championship. So
that's crazy because the series is 0-0.
That's a good point, Maddie. That's a great point.
People are saying
0-0.
People are saying the series is still 0-0. But fellas, it was great to see you guys. It was great to get a Thunder win. Good luck on the rest of the pod. Tierney, let me know what y'all talk about, and I will edit it in the morning.
Sounds good. Thank you, Dylan.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye. Thunder up.
Thunder up.
I do want to continue a little bit with the Caruso case and talk. I don't have much more to say. Dylan hit most of the highlights, but Kaysen's stat sheet does not, at least the defensive stat sheet does not do it justice because, the ESPN broadcast, while did feel heavily biased towards the Timberwolves, gave Kaysen his flowers quite frequently, and deservedly so. It's kind of hard to imagine that he is still a year 2 player because of how disciplined he is on defense. Anytime Ant would try to make a move, he's never biting. He's always grounded. He's never, out of position. And I did say that I am worried a little bit about Ant's ankle, but, to the other side of things, I think a lot of the testament to his 5 of 13 from tonight is the fact that he just simply could not get the shots he wanted in the second half. It's yet to be seen whether that's because he just can't explode as much because of that ankle injury or how much of it was because of cookies and cream, but part of it definitely was. Caruso was on him a couple of possessions too. Same deal. Didn't technically get a steal or block or anything on the stat sheet, but contained him nonetheless. So yeah, shout out Cookies and Cream. You haven't bought a shirt yet. They're still available. And you can get it before this round of the playoffs is over. If you purchase it now, I'll try to put a link up. Yeah, great. The Demon Duo.
Yeah, it was really good to see them come in. Like Caruso just comes off the bench and then immediately makes an impact. 3 of 3 from 3-point land for Caruso. Remember where we were first half of the season when the dude was shooting like 21% from three.
Oh, how we
were all in shambles, and people
were
are
all
like
panicking.
People were all like, "Oh, you lost the Giddey trade and da 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 da." Giddey getting triple doubles and Caruso was hurt and then like coming in and missing threes. This is why we traded for Alex Caruso. This is why Alex Caruso got a 4-year, $81 million extension with us. This is why he was important. The fact that we literally on the same possession, you can screen off of Alex Caruso, and you get your reward is Lou Dort, or your reward is Casey Wallace, or your reward
is
Jaylen Williams
at the rim.
And you get by them, and then you have to deal with Chet. It's like there's just so much to have to overcome on most every possession. I mean, Sam Presti is a madman for putting this team together, and they love each other too. That's the thing. That's the biggest difference. Not only is their versatility, not only are they highly skilled, not only do they exert tremendous effort on both ends of the floor, they do it for each other. And I think that matters. When there's adversity, they stick together. When things aren't going their way, they just keep chopping wood. They eventually figure it out. And then when they do figure it out, boy, howdy, do they figure it out. Because this thing could turn quickly. We went from being down, 9 points with a couple of minutes left in the first half to getting it to 4, to humming around 9 points, to blinking and saying, this game is over.
It's that third quarter thunderstorm.
It's
the thunderstorm that just, as soon as you blink, it's a double-digit lead for us, no matter what.
It's tremendous. There are times where we can get those guys out there. It really does feel like this is the perfect way to put it, in my opinion. It feels like the Golden State Warriors death lineup, except it's defensive
on the other way around.
first.
Yeah.
Because you're in hell and you don't know, like you can't even get shots off.
And that to me is even better, because as good as Steph is and all of those guys were, shooting is much less consistent than defense. Like you can rely on defense 100% of the time, because you don't get hot from defense. You get hot from shooting. And so, that's why I think this team is just so capable of winning a title this year. It's because you even if the shots are not falling for us, even if the offense isn't even there, you can always rely on Caruso. You can always rely on Kaysen and the rest of this defense. Also, real quick, Cooper in the chat mentioning sizing of the shirt. I do think you need probably a size up. That's what I ordered. This is a new material for us, so I'm not totally sure, but from the past, from our merch, you typically need it does shrink a little bit, so I would get a size up. But yeah, the one thing I was going to also ask you before we wrap up the Caruso case and stuff, if still 0-0, but if we won a title this season, is the Caruso trade the greatest trade by Sam Presti in his career?
No.
Okay. I mean, Shai obviously is there.
The PG Shai trade is like the best in NBA history.
Would Caruso be number 2 then behind Shai?
I mean, no, because obviously
there's the Westbrook trades and what that happened.
Ibaka that got us
everything else,
and Oladipo that got us PG, like that set the whole train in motion. You could argue that was.
But I think in a vacuum, because obviously like the Ibaka trade led to other things down the road that he then flipped. But I think in a vacuum, like just one trade, I think that has to be up in his echelon.
It's up there, like the trading for PG and him getting like number 3 in MVP voting.
Yeah.
Number 3 in Defensive Player of the Year. Like, I think that's tough to beat still in a vacuum. But Caruso is certainly up there. I mean, you could argue it made the biggest impact, maybe.
Yeah, El Sombre said it's the best role player trade. That's probably a better argument.
Hands down, and it's weird that role players are making $40 million or $20 million a year now, but that's where we're at. But yeah,
it's up there though.
hugely impactful. We certainly have a couple of exciting whites that we brought into the team.
Love the exciting
this year.
whites.
It's just, man, so hyper productive. And we got another one just waiting in the wings.
There's so
next
many
year.
exciting whites.
Topich Thunder starts next year.
Topich Thunder.
So yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things. If we look back on this and we end up winning a title, there are a lot of things that we could highlight as potentially the most important. But we still have 8 wins to go because it's 0-0 right now.
0-0. Yeah.
0-0.
They're still playing the game right now as we speak.
There were 2 big things that I would like to hit on before we get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
We touched on it a little bit, but we survived 2 pretty significant events or trends or whatever you want to call it within this game. The Julius Randle explosion in the first half, that perhaps a lesser team or a team that wasn't as committed, that 9-point lead would have ballooned to be like 15, maybe more than that. And they just chopped wood and got it down to 4. And then Randall did nothing in the second half. But I was like, man, is he going to hit 50 on us? And then Naz Reid has a history of torching us. We thought Aaron Gordon was a pain in our ass. Naz Reid is the boss version of that. And he looked very pedestrian today. So I was like, man, how can we win with the Julius Randle thing? But also we better freaking win because this is the worst game Naz Reid is going to play all series. And we did. We ended up getting the win. We had to. We needed to. We figured out a way. But, man, both of those things, I didn't see that coming. Full transparency, I played a showdown lineup tonight on DraftKings. I had Naz Reid in the captain spot for a reason. I'll piss that money away happily.
That's fine. Yeah.
I do not care.
Yeah, I take a Thunder win every day over that. I don't mean to interrupt for your second point. You can get to in a second. We have a special guest tuning in, NBA correspondent. I think he's still live from the stadium. Maybe we'll see, but I believe we have NBA correspondent 3
Good.
Still wearing the shirt, by the way.
Yeah, I don't take the shirt off when they caught me without the shirt. It was literally I just sat down.
Yeah,
it was not.
You will never do that again. You will never do that again. Wear
Today,
it
the second I sat down, because last time I went to Twitter and I was texting my family pictures and stuff. We'll never do that again. The second I sat down, the shirt was on.
Good.
But yeah, I'm heading back to my hotel, but I stopped for a second to tune in and say 7 more wins.
Well, hold on. It's 8 more wins, Cone. It's 0-0. So let's hold our horses here.
That's a good point. Well, actually, then it's 16 more wins.
It's 16. It's just a lot more wins to go.
They always say the playoffs don't start until they're over.
That's true. No.
So the real thing everybody wants to know: are you spending another 2 days in Oklahoma City?
Man, I don't know. I was only supposed to spend 1 day. I've now spent 3. I don't know if I could push it to 5.
At some point, you're just going to become a resident of Oklahoma.
Just sign a lease. Figure it out.
At some point, I think I get naturalized as just an OKC citizen. I think I got to give up my my New York residency and just I'm going to be an OKC guy. But I don't know. Considering it lightly, well, the thing is, my flight is supposed to leave at 6 a.m. tomorrow, so it's about 7 hours away.
That's too early.
It is early, but I was like, I'm gonna head out. I don't know, man. Considering it, but I just want to hop in real quick. I gotta because I'm walking back to the apartment, or not apartment, but hotel, and now I have to figure out if I'm going to do something insane and actually stay again. But energy in the building was insane tonight, as usual. I felt so good in the arena after we were only down 4 at halftime, and they had 7 more threes, and Julius Randle was left-handed LeBron James with Steph Curry's jumper. It was unbelievable, some of the shots that he was hitting, but felt really good. I mean, we dictated the hell out of the game, and you want to know, people were talking about, yes, Minnesota is a better team, I would say, overall than Denver. But when it comes to the playoffs, the Nuggets were scary. I mean, did tonight not feel much less intimidating than the Denver Nuggets?
I was not scared at a 4-point deficit in the half.
This is not a shot at Minnesota at all. Minnesota is extremely, extremely good. But there's just something about when you're playing Jokic in Denver where every time we didn't score in a possession and they got a couple buckets in a row, I'm like, oh, my God, what is happening? I was nervous. And today to actually see a non-zone defense, we got to actually see man-to-man was incredible. That was a breath of fresh air. But yeah, just really great effort from the guys. Chet, one of the best quarters of his life in that fourth quarter, changed the entire game. Kenrich Williams, can we talk about Kenny Hustle?
Kenny Hustle, boys.
Coming
Kenny
in,
Hustle.
small ball lineup and taking over in the third quarter. It was just an incredible game, man. Incredible game. Again, I was going to say 7 more wins, but the playoffs haven't started 0-0, so 16 more wins. I can't wait till we actually get to start the playoffs. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that'd be great. I hope we get some wins soon. But yeah, still 0-0, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's weird that I left and everyone else left the arena when it's still 0-0.
Yeah.
I think they're just in there trading stops over and over again. It's all about the fundamentals. Everybody's playing real fundamental
It's pretty
defense.
tough out there.
Yeah. Also, real quick, everyone's talking about the whistle. Like, the Wolves just didn't go inside in the second half at all. And a lot of that was Chet. Chet was
They took 51 threes.
Yeah, they took 51 threes. And it felt like that in the game. I was like, oh my God, like they are chucking threes. And Minnesota shoots a lot of threes. That's their whole thing, is they shoot a lot of threes. And that's what they did, because I don't think Minnesota is going to beat us playing volleyball. It's not going to work. If Julius Randle is backing down Casey Wallace or Ludort or whoever for 18 out of the 24 seconds on the shot clock, even if he ends up with a bucket a couple of those times, I'm so happy with that.
Yeah.
Like, I want the ball out of Anthony Edwards' hands as much as possible. And Randle was awesome tonight, but I don't think they can beat us attacking inside and going up against the rim protection of Chet and iHeart. Like, they're going to have to hit a bunch of threes. That is their advantage on us, is they are a high volume, really good three-point shooting team for the most part. It's been a little bit lower here in the playoffs, which is the way it goes, but like, that's how they're going to have to do it. And it's going to result in less free throws. Like, I don't know what people want us to say, and especially, like, the whistle isn't the reason this was a 26-point game.
No. It's
the fact that they ran into a brick wall, which is one of the greatest defenses of all time. And it's what Alex and I talked about on the preview podcast. This is the perfect series for the Thunder when it comes to that turnover-generating defense. Minnesota is going to give you the ball. Julius Randle, like, you think about that play to end the first half, second quarter, where he's posting up and he just falls asleep, and J-Dub just runs from behind and steals it, and Isaiah Joe ends up with the free throws. Those plays are going to happen. Randle had, I think, 5-6 turnovers tonight. Ant had 4. They're going to give us the basketball. You just got to, if we take advantage of those opportunities, then we're going to win. Do y'all know how many fast break points Minnesota had tonight?
0, I believe. Yeah.
Not a single fast break point in an entire game of basketball. That's the reason they lost, because the defense was crazy, and even when we turned the ball over, we weren't giving them those opportunities in transition. They were forced to stop and set up their offense. This was the defense game. That's what this was.
There, one other thing I wanted to mention as a NBA correspondent, the narrative is going to be Ant was hurt. I've been seeing a lot of that, and we've been talking about how, Kaysen and Caruso, of course, cookies and cream, has been more the factor for this. What say you about that narrative that Ant actually just hurt?
Yeah, I mean, Ant dealt with the ankle thing, but he looked fine in arena. I don't know how it looked in the broadcast, but he didn't seem too hobbled. He was fine. He was moving good. He hit a couple of threes, like, in that second half. He still felt like he was moving fine. I just think this defense is ridiculous, and there are so many bodies to throw at him. I think they did a great job, too, of making him second guess moments. Like, there were a lot of moments where he kind of got to his step back three and he had enough space to take the shot, but instead of shooting, he pump faked because someone had a quick, like, stutter closeout, or there was a hand a little bit closer than he liked. And that's the privilege that we have with Caruso and Kaysen and Dort and Shea and Dub and all these guys we can throw at him. It's a lengthy team, and I think because of the turnovers, Ant was trying to generate good offense. Like, he was trying to make the right play, and he's done a really good job of that in the playoffs so far. But this is just a different animal. Like, the Warriors defense is good. It's really good. This is one of the greatest defenses of all time. It's just, levels to this. And so Minnesota is going to have to take care of the ball way more than they did tonight. If they continue to have turnover games like they did, they're going to get swept in this series, unless they get really hot from three, which is possible. Like, Dante shot terrible tonight. Nas couldn't buy a bucket for anything. Yeah, they are going to shoot better. They are. We gave them a decent number of open threes, but also that's kind of what we do, is we give them open threes for guys that we don't trust to make them. And it's like, and a lot of the threes, though, were also end of shot clock, or there's, like, they're classified as open, but there's someone running out to contest, and it's very frantic. And also, with us being physical, we wear down shooters, and it makes it harder for them to knock down the shots as well. Like, it's not just they're missing open threes, because of the physicality and how much guys have to run around screens constantly and so many actions to even get open for these shots. I think that also results in tired legs and shots missing short and things like that. It's kind of stuff that obviously doesn't pop up in the box score, but it's part of what this defense does. So, I mean, they're going to shoot better. You know, we got to be ready to respond in game 2. You can't just trust that they're going to shoot terribly again. But like at the same time, I feel really good about the way we played. I thought we dictated the hell out of the game. Even the first half where we were down, I was like, Shai just had one of his worst halves I can remember. And Naz Reid is literally, or not Naz Reid, Julius Randle was literally Steph Curry. And we're down 4 points. I was like, I feel
not
so
worried.
good.
Not worried at all.
Yeah, talked to a few people at halftime, and they're like, you feeling okay? Like, you worried at all? I'm like, not even in the slightest. We are going to be fine. And we won by 26 points. Like, we ran them off the court in the third and fourth quarter. Another game also where the double big didn't really work. Single big was much, much more effective. I think that's the way it's going to be against Minnesota because they're such a perimeter-oriented team. When you have Chet and Ihart out there, it makes it a little bit difficult. It's better to, and that's part of also why the small ball lineup is so effective. Like, Naz is a big, but he's also only 6'9", and we play a lot bigger than we are. Plus, you know, Gobert is not going to hurt us in the post. Randall is a big guy. He's a big body, but Lou can body up against him. So can J-Dub. And again, I don't mind if Randall's playing post offense. I'm cool with that in the year 2025 if we're getting Julius Randle post-ups every possession. So single big, I think, is going to continue to be the way to go. I don't know if we see that change.
The zero big?
Lineup.
The zero big?
Yeah, 1 or 0 bigs. 2 bigs, I don't think I want to see as much because whenever it was just Chet or Ihart, I mean, the game just felt so easy for the Thunder relatively to when it was the 2 bigs. Huge shout out to Kenrich Williams for coming in this game and doing what he did, by the way. And Isaiah Zay was a difference maker.
He's back.
Like
8 boards.
He really had 8.
He had 8 boards.
I mean, it felt like Zay was boarding up, so I'm not surprised, but 8 is crazy. So, yeah, man. I mean, just energy in the arena felt great. We're feeling good. 3 games from the NBA Finals.
Hell
3
yeah.
wins.
Hell yeah.
So,
let's go, man. Good analysis. Thank you for the boots on the ground take.
Of course.
There. Appreciate
and
you.
And, of course, you will be back for Tuesday's game because you'll be missing his flight tomorrow. As you heard it here first on the Topic Thunder podcast.
I literally got people like DMing me like, bro, stay for the next game and then fly to Minnesota.
Yeah, like, just go to you need to go to the rest of the games. Tell Snapback to, you know, they can handle it.
It's such a different feeling from when it was like the Cone Curse and people were like, don't go anywhere near the games, don't talk about the teams. And
the opposite.
I think the Cone Curse might be a playoff dropper, is what people are saying on the timeline.
That's what they're saying.
I just don't think it's built for these high leverage moments. So
well, I think that you should say, you know, are the Wolves fine? And just like gas them up.
Yeah. I can do that. I'll go record a video and do that for you.
Yeah, perfect. Great.
All right, gentlemen. I'll see you later.
Have a good night, Roland. Say it back.
Okay.
Thank you, Cone, NBA correspondent. Well, that was a lot of good analysis. I don't remember, Moles, if you had another point.
The point was Randall going off. How can we sustain that or beat that? But also Naz having an off game, and we have to take advantage.
Yeah,
and we ended up figuring both of those things out. So
I do think, you know, Naz and DiVincenzo are going. They may not shoot lights out game 2, but I think on the road you're gonna have those guys shoot much better. Like those role players.
3 for 19. They have to be better than 3 for 19.
3 of 19 is, I mean, I think they're going to do better than 3 of 19 in game 2, but I think they're going to do much better than 3 of 19 at home in game 3 and 4.
5 of 28 between the 3 of them. Nasri, DiVincenzo, and Nas.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's not going to happen again.
They're going to shoot better.
I mean, Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle combined for 10 of 13 though. So, you know, it sort of covered up for it a little bit.
8 of 14.
Am I counting? Oh, I'm looking at free throws. Sorry, not 3 points. I had the columns mixed up. But yeah, the 3-point shooting is gonna be better. Well, yeah, we took advantage of a poor shooting night from them. The big 3 figured it out. The defense was just the defense that it's always been, and it was a 26-point win because of it. So,
and the crowd was incredible. People were wearing the shirt.
The ESPN mics suck, dude. The crowd just does not sound the same.
The people talking into those mics
and the people talking into those mics suck. I switched over to the they now I guess
the
they're doing this
ESPN2
the analytics one. It was a little bit better. But what's also funny is they put up like those little 3D animations of the plays and they just look so goofy. But the commentary was fine, so I tuned into that. Yeah, I don't know. I mentioned this earlier. I don't know what Doris Burke has against the Thunder. I really like her as an announcer, but she just sometimes she literally said at one point, like she regurgitated the free throw merchant. Like she actually said that on the broadcast. I was like, this is NBA Twitter stuff. This is not for a national broadcast. What are we doing here? But anyway, it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine with that narrative, even if it's not true. So game 2 is on Thursday. Same time. I am fully confident this is another win. I don't know if it's going to be a 26-point win because I think like we've been talking about, the Wolves are going to shoot better. But I also think Shai can score 40. So I see no reason we can't win game 2 as well and have a 2-0 lead heading into the Minnesota games. And I think, to be honest, we're going to take one in Minnesota as well. And if we do, I will be buying a ticket to game 5.
You're thinking gentleman's suite?
I'm thinking, I don't know, but I do. I still think it's going to be 6, but I want to be in the stadium if, what did I say? Thunder in 6?
Well, if you say Thunder in 6, but you're buying a game 5 ticket,
yeah,
that means that you know they're going to lose.
Well, no. I'm going to buy a game 5 in the hopes that they do pull it off in 5, but I don't know if they actually can. I want to be in the building when they make the finals. I want to try to be because I can't make it to Minnesota. But I think they'll get one in Minnesota in game 3 or 4 too. So they can potentially put off in 5. And honestly, after that win tonight, that makes me a little bit more confident of Thunder in 5 because I was definitely like Thunder in 6 or 7 before this. So
I might be able to go to like game 1 or 2 and then in the finals. And then if it does go to 7, I might be able to go to that one too.
Yeah,
I have it set aside. My kids don't need to go to college. It's fine.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, I don't need a house in a couple years. You know, it's all fine. We'll figure out finances
it's all
later.
good.
Yeah, it's all good.
But cart well ahead of the horse here. We gotta handle the business.
0-0.
But I do like our chances. My prediction is OKC by 5 in game 2 because the Wolves are going to come out better. I think they had rust tonight because they rested so much.
Agreed.
And that wasn't really discussed a ton, but they'll be better, but so will we.
I'm going to say Thunder in like 8 or 9. I think it's still a pretty good win, but definitely will keep it closer. But we'll be back for that game on Thursday. So please tune in there. Thank you for everyone who tuned in tonight. Saw a lot of the chat going for most of the night. We appreciate that. If you have not already subscribed, we're zooming towards 1,000 subs. We appreciate that support. And also like the stream. It helps to like the stream. It's just one button, and it's so easy to push. If you do it, it helps for engagement. It gets us out into the ether of YouTube a little bit better. So please do that before you leave this pod. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever, thank you as well. We always appreciate reviews. So please leave a 5-star review on Apple, or if they have one on Spotify, do that as well. We appreciate all that support. And again, we put the link in the chat for the merch. We have other merch coming out when they announce some things, but we will not publicly put that out until then. But do buy the cookies and cream shirt because boy, oh boy, have they been balling out. And if you are on Twitter, please follow us at OKC Topic Thunder. We always do a little game tweeting, in-game tweeting, live game tweeting. I don't know what the word is, but you know what I mean. So thank you for any and all of that support. Moles, any final thoughts before we head out?
Yeah, if you can work on that code. You said you're working on that for
I will. There's something in the chat about a code for free shipping. I'm not sure how we got the original code, but I will. Cooper, if you have Twitter, go ahead and DM us. I can hook you up over there. If not, we'll figure out some other way. But just reach out to us however you can, and we'll figure it out. So if you want that free shipping, the shirts do have shipping on them, but I think there is a code you can get for free shipping. So definitely take advantage of that. But with that said, we're gonna wrap up here. Nice hour-long pod for y'all. Had a lot of people pop in and out. Always nice to see everybody from the pod. And we'll be back, like I said, on Thursday. So God bless. Hoop when you can. And as always,